I am Suzanne Roberts, your host. I am the author of It's Deeper Than That, and we are going to be reading from it today. And I'm so excited to have as the co-pilot today the one and only Monu Singh. Thank you for being here, Monu.
Hello, everyone.
We're here for what we call Wisdom Wednesdays because it launches on Wednesday. So whatever day you're listening to this, just know you're tapping into the Wisdom Wednesday. And today I asked Monu what she wanted to focus on, and she said the mind. So I decided to read about when the mind takes over as a positive pull from my book. It's deeper than that. So let's listen to what happens when the mind takes over as the positive pull instead of the soul being the positive pull, which is how it's designed to be naturally. And this is how we become unnatural, is what I would say. The mind, before we start, the mind in the ideal pattern is meant to be neutral, and that lets the soul current run freely through us. The mind loses neutrality when it starts to take over as the positive pole, replacing the natural position of the soul. Different spiritual teachers have stated the mind itself assumed the role of the creator and sustainer, and it is the mind which prompts one to go astray. So just stop here for a minute and think about, do you want your mind to become the creator and sustainer? That is, I don't, but it's a good question to ask yourself. Do you want your soul to be the creator and sustainer or your mind? When the mind loses the guidance, wisdom, and knowledge from our higher self, we end up confused, frustrated, and suffering. We spend most of our life completely unaware and unconscious of our mind becoming the dictator, driving our own misery. Think about that. Your mind becoming the dictator, driving your own misery. So here's some of the ways our mind leads us astray. And as you're listening, listeners, see which one piques your interest. I'm asking that of Monu too. And if you have the book, you can find this on page 50. And if you don't, you can get the book on Amazon.com and turn to page 50. This way you'll have your list right in front of you. So as we're listening here, some of the ways our mind leads us astray are seduction by the senses, designing agendas, leading with bias, outward seeking for fulfillment, building identity by virtues of righteousness, attachment, and pride, seeking safety, belonging, dignity, value, and connection from the world. So these are just some of the ways that our mind can lead us astray and become the dictator and cause misery. Which one stood out to you, Monu?
I think for me, it was seeking, I forget the exact words you used, but seeking outward, seeking fulfillment from the external world.
Outward seeking for fulfillment.
Yeah, outward seeking for fulfillment. I mean, all of them, of course, at one time or another, but that one in particular, I can always tell when I feel restless inside and I start to look outside of myself um, as a way to ease that restlessness. And, inevitably, I never find the satisfaction I'm looking for. It's not until I turn inwards that I'm able to, um, find some of that solace that I'm seeking outside of myself.
What are some of the ways that you might try to seek when that restlessness arises? How do you seek outside of yourself? Can you give some examples so people might be able to relate to what you're saying?
Sure. So one example might be I might feel constricted or constrained by my current life conditions, whether it's work, where I'm living, the things I'm doing or not doing, meaning like activities that I'm involved in. And then for me, what happens is I'm like, I need to change everything. I need to move. I need to get a different job. I need to, make new friends, whatever. But all of this is outside of me, right?
Mm.
And I've been in this pattern long enough and have been practicing observing myself for the past few years that I can now see that when that feeling starts to happen, that something deeper is actually going on, and that I need to pause, like stop scrolling through houses on Zillow or whatever, and like actually turn the computer off and like sit for a few minutes inside and spend the energy that I'm spending looking outside, looking inside.
And what are you looking inside for? How are you tuning inside of you?
I'm feeling for my soul current, ultimately. That's really what I'm feeling for is my own aliveness, my own that energy um, that's moving inside of me that is always moving. It's just that I'm not always paying attention to it. And once I'm able to connect with that in a deeper way and have a more felt sense of it, that's when I'm like, oh, this is actually my home.
Right, not
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 trying to
whatever house
Zillow.
I can't afford on Zillow. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I really appreciate. Thank you so much for being willing to share how you do that. I think people will be able to relate to that. And I also appreciate what you're saying here because it was saying that the mind can become the dictator in dictating where our attention goes. And
Right.
the pause to say, this restlessness isn't going to be solved by something in the external world, and to turn the attention inward where there is sustenance, because that soul current is the only conducting all the time. It's the only way we become alive is through that soul current. So that's where our sustenance is, our sustainability, our resource, our returning and remembering, and then there's room for inspiration to come from the current instead of our mind, and that's such an opportunity. So thank you. So listeners, consider how your mind leads you astray and causes you pursuing relentlessly in a world that will not fulfill you and controls you, and see if you're willing to pause and turn your attention inward where your treasure lies. And your treasure is a drop of the eternal ocean of love pulsing inside of you, waiting for you to remember and come home to. So, thank you for listening to us here today on the Purpose for Life podcast. We're so excited to have you here. And we'll be back with you in 2 weeks with more Wisdom Wednesdays. It's deeper than that, available on Amazon, and there's a book portal on www.unifyingsolutions.com/book/ where you can have access to so many resources to support you on your journey to the great reconnection.